Join us on Open Table.
Open Table.
Open Table.
So, ladies, I have this question, and our viewers would also appreciate if you make your comment on this question because it's something that touches most homes. Do you think that having a joint account it's a good way to plan the finances of the home, or it causes more than good? What's your view, Kiki?
For me, a joint account is a thing and it might not be a thing. I'm indifferent, right? So for me, if you have a joint account, you can put in finances. Maybe when you have a capital project that you are looking at, and you can, so just for the sake of discipline, we would always put money. Each person would put this amount, and we pull it together at the end of the day to do whatever we want to do. And if you think spouses are so disciplined that if you have a capital project and you decide we need this amount, this is coming from spouse A and this is coming from spouse B, and you are able to save it individually without touching it. And when it's time for the project, you are able to put the funds together and do whatever you want to do. It's okay.
So it's only good for project, not for the daily running of the home.
No.
I feel that there are different types of joint accounts.
Right.
The joint account depends on what you define it to be. But I think the canopy or the umbrella interpretation of joint account is that you are even doing things together, right? Financially. But how you now go about doing it, it varies from family to family. Apparently, there are some people that they have individual accounts and then they now pool their finances. You bring so amount, I bring this amount to put in a common pot. That's the joint account for some people. And there are some people that their joint account is 100%. So it's still one pot. In my own scenario, what I know is, what I practice is we bring our finances to, in fact, we don't have a pot that will say this pot is, we opened it together, we are both signatories. We don't have that. Nevertheless, my money is our money. Your money is our money. So it depends on how open couples are to one another, because there are some people that this is the one I put in the joint account that you should know about. The one in my own account, you don't have any business with it. So that's not my own scenario kind of thing. We both know what's in each other's account. In fact, from time to time, we remind ourselves, how much is that in that your account? It's in your name. It's that's where your salary goes to or anything, but how much is in that your account? Oh, I think I have so amount in it. Me too, I have this amount in it. And we plan a project if we have a project. And if we feel that, so that we don't just start spending grocery money from each of the accounts, we might now have one account in either of each person's name, and that is untouchable account for general family savings or projects or anything. But that doesn't mean I still don't know what you have in your account. So it's still a joint account for each person. But I know there are some scenarios that where some couples don't even have anything joint. When you need money, just ask me.
Well, I feel, and this is just my view, I feel joint account is a recipe for disaster.
Oh.
That's how I feel. And this is why I say this, especially the one that is the 100% joint account where all your salaries come in there, all your expenditures goes out from there, everything happens from one bank account or one purse. And this is why I think it's a recipe for disaster. We all have different temperaments. In every home, there is the spender and the saver. Now, if everything happens from one purse, it will, if the spender is on a spending thrift, the saver is now either overcompensating or there'll be avenues for quarrel. There'll be more reasons to quarrel. Already marriage in itself has a lot of things that will bring arguments and altercations. You just added and stick into the fire as far as I'm concerned. So I think for me, what I think works and what works in my own sphere is this. Have your account. I have my account. We will both agree on, because we all know the overheads in our house. We'll both agree and say, this is what it will take for us to run the home on the monthly. And then we have a separate account where all of that money is lumped to take care of bills and whatever else. And then you have your own personal account that you want to use to do one or two things. Some people say, oh, it is good that before I buy lipstick, I'll tell my husband, what? Certain things, it's not out of, at least again, this is my view, and I am open to discussion. There are certain things I definitely would tell my husband before I buy. But if I'm buying a lipstick, I was like, I won't buy lipstick. Sorry, I'm speaking pidgin, guys. I'm sorry, so let me speak proper English. I want to go and buy makeup, and then I would have to now go to him, or because we are all pulling from the same account, I always, oh, how did this money disappear? Oh, I used it to buy makeup. I use it to buy. And again, with the guys, they want to do certain things that they don't necessarily have to tell you. So that's my view. I feel the 100% joint account is a recipe for disaster.
Though I think I've heard stories of couples who actually do, or maybe at the end of the month, put funds together, and it works for some people. But for me, I don't really think it's necessary for us. Wherever the fund comes from doesn't matter, as long as what we need that fund for is settled, right? So if an amount is needed, whosoever can, if someone is able to pick it up 100%, that's okay, as long as it's done. If someone is able to do 40, 50, 6, that doesn't come as a discussion. It's just for that particular thing to be resolved. We don't have a separate account where we put. At times, the money might even be in one person's account. We are removing this for this particular period, then it moves into account. Then we know we are using it for this purpose. But the main thing behind it, I think, is trust, communication. When your spouse should be able to know how much you earn, how much you have in your account, like you said. I really love that. It's when there's trust and transparency, then there won't be issues for me.
I completely agree with you, Kiki. Transparency is the foundation because there are so many factors, because we have just said what we know and what we practice, and we are all right in all our submissions. The most important thing is there are different dynamics for different families, because some women, I used to, before now, many years ago, let me say close to 15 years ago or more, I used to advise people based on what I believe that you should always, like a woman, for example, submit your money to your husband, give your money to your husband, let your husband know everything about your
And decide
finances.
what you do.
Not like for him to decide, but it's more like
Respect, right?
a bit of respect and a little bit of openness and some form of submission. That's the way I see it. Then, not now. Yes, that's what I used to see. That's why I said there are different dynamics. I now learned over the years, you say with experience, when I saw many dysfunctional families. I remember there was like a daughter to me who got married many years back anyway, after I knew when she got married and everything. And that was the kind of principle I was telling her to practice with her husband. But this husband was now spending money anyhow. She ended up it became a problem. Like you said, that 100% now became a problem because the husband now became unfaithful or insincere with his own financial status. And she was giving and giving, and he was pretending he didn't have money. And because of that, all her money was being spent, and which she was ready or happy to give out fully, because she felt, oh, as long as we have everything done. But know your spouse is what I'll also say. The man was not financially faithful. He was spending money in other things. He will travel, languished money anyhow, and come back pretending there was no money. And so many things were not being done in the house. Later, secrets started coming out. Of course, what do you expect me to preach to the girl? Will I say, go back? No, I said, no. That was my next message. Be wise and keep your money to yourself. Start, because that's what I always tell women after some time. Be financially independent. I don't believe in every time I want to buy bread, I go meet my husband. Oh, I need money for bread. Oh, I need money for transport. How much will you use for a week? I'm working, not like I'm not working. And it's not like you are trying to dash me money. It's because I have given you my money and now you want to
Now start
sneak peek to give me, calculate what you are giving. That's wrong. For me, have your own pocket money, whichever way you want to do it. Even if you want to give your husband money, because some women will say, my money is my own. I'm not giving you a penny. Even if the man is suffering and struggling to pay school fees, pay house rent, take care of the family. Once the man does not drop money, you don't cook soup and you have money, not like you don't have your own money. Maybe you're in business or working. So that is another extreme, right? So there are extremes to the case. But I think for me, I feel spouses should meet in the middle. But most importantly, know your spouse. If your spouse is now becoming unfaithful, there are some things we might preach that might not work for you.
Because I was going to ask, when you're talking about transparency, I was like, there are different dynamics here. Some families, the man is not transparent. And we are doing this podcast to a wide audience that have all of this at play. So I just believe in avoiding things that will eventually bring trouble. That's why I stick with just every family has an overhead expense.
Mhm.
They know how much they spend on groceries, rent, blah, blah. I'm a big preacher of it shouldn't be all on the man's shoulder. Neither should it be all on the woman's shoulder, because we also have scenarios where the men sit at home and do nothing,
No.
and the woman is a workaholic and she's paying all the bills. So I feel in marital life, there will be times when the man is earning more, the woman is earning less, and then the woman is earning more and the man is earning less, because it's ebb and
Life is
flow.
not balanced. Yeah.
It's ebb and flow. So in that scenario, when the person with the bigger income, we should shoulder more of the burden of the finances of the home. So if we say, let's put numbers to what we're saying. Let's say maybe it takes 5,000 to run the home, and the woman earns 10,000 a month and the man earns 5,000 a month. Obviously, the man will bring less.
Yeah, but some women would not want
And
to
then the
agree to
woman,
that.
that's my view.
Yeah.
And then have an account where they put that money away. It's just for bills and whatever else. And then you still have your own money to do and spend on yourself. That way, the quarreling or the argument will be less, because we know all the money that is in so and so account is for rent, is for feeding, is for fueling, is for that. Now, if one person goes to pull money from there, and one of the things that the money is supposed to be used for is not done, we can ask, so why did you go take the money from there? But if you leave the money all in one place, the man will spend it like this story that you're talking about and say, I was doing project. How are you the wiser? The project can be one side chick somewhere.
But it depends on who. The first thing is know your spouse.
How many people know their spouse?
A lot of people you would
So
know.
now, if you are sincere to know your spouse, or if you're you know your spouse,
You would.
if it's
And
good or it is
and
bad.
even if you start on that level and you discover that is a bad one, then everyone would be wise about it. But you would
change
know,
your style.
So it's not a one size fit all. It depends on who your spouse is. If your spouse is not transparent about a fund or his or her fund, then why should you, as a partner, be transparent?
Yes.
As long as the bills are being sorted.
I'm just trying to be troublesome. But because people expect that because the man is bad, you are now bad. Some people teach that culture. So if he's not transparent, you should be transparent and use your transparency to win.
But in that, it won't work because you are being transparent, you are saving money, he's using it for other purposes or she's using it for other purposes. Then the family would not be stable. There will be fights.
What people say in that kind of scenario is be praying.
Prayer sorts the house rent. Now, if your salary, for example, if let's even say it's on the part of the man, if the man earns maybe drops, the man earns 3,000, drops 2,000 to sort bill. He only has 1,000 to himself. He's going to buy gas, maybe take care of his parent or things like that. He had dropped 20%. He had dropped 80% of his salary. Just add 1,000 to himself. I'm not sure if my calculation is. And the wife spends it. The money is actually for rent, for things like settle the house, and the wife spends it on maybe wig, going to parties. In that situation, next month, are you still going to drop that 2,000? You would rather pay to your landlord directly. I will even go to the store, buy the whatever we will need. Because at the end of the day, if you say, oh, I'll keep praying, prayer will not find, I'm not disputing prayer. But in that situation, prayer will not pay my rent. Prayer will not feed the children or the family. So next month or even third month, I won't give her the money again because I know she won't use it for the purpose. I rather want to sort it myself and everyone will be fine.
So I've listened to a video on YouTube where a marriage counselor was giving his own example and said, in their family, he is the spender, the wife is the saver. And that at the beginning of their marriage, they struggled because he will spend all the money on things because he's an impulsive buyer.
He should hand over to the wife.
Now. But he found out that every time when he's out of pocket, the wife had. So the wife kept, because we're talking about transparency now, the wife continued being transparent. Oh, I still have money. She didn't say, oh, because my husband is spending all the money, let me keep my own. You understand? So she kept coming to save the day until years passed in the marriage, and he now came to the realization that I think I have a spending problem.
Oh, after so many years.
Yes, he did say that he came to the realization that, oh, I have a spending problem. And because I have a spending problem now, he has given over every form of financial management to the wife.
That's what I was going to say.
So in that case, her being transparent, even though in the face of the person that is not being transparent, paid up at the end.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always work so to every family.
So what do you have to say?
Well, regarding that, I'm sure that such a person along the line, there must be some other things that the wife is seeing in the man that kept her doing what she's doing. Because sometimes it's not just one factor. Because marriage is a mixture of different things. We have domestic chores help. A man that helps me domestically in the home. A man that is very respects the wife. I'm using a man because of the example you are giving now. A man that respects the wife, that knows that, does not disrespect, shouts, treats the wife badly. A guy that he's handy with the children. He's domesticated because, when he's clothes washing, he's cleaning the house or anything, he participates in everything we do in the house. And a man that, like I said, respects you, even when that is his weakness, there's a way you can still understand and help him. And I'm sure the wife will not just keep quiet and be saying, "Oh, I'm transparent." She must have also been talking about it with him, talking and talking, maybe quarrel at times, and sometimes use diplomacy, whatever tactics. And they must have used that to help the man to recognize his shortcomings. And maybe with prayer, like we say, helps it to be able to one day come to his realization, like the prodigal son, I've done this too bad, too long. And then he came back and repented and said, "Now I'll change." But if you have a man that in all things, he doesn't help you. In the house, he's not helping. He's not forthcoming. When it comes to children, he doesn't pull his weight. When it comes to respecting you, he shouts and belittles you, talks to you anyhow, or tries to subjugate you. And then financially, you are still treating me bad. I can't be suffering in all areas. So that kind of thing, that might be like a deal breaker. So with that kind of a man, you can't hold a joint account because they must have been. And then there are some men that once beaten, twice shy. Some people you've held joint account with and they betrayed you in one way or the other. Probably the money you felt you are saving, they've used it to go and build a house in their name.
Right.
Or they've used it to maybe marry a second wife. Or they are sending the money to their family, forgetting your own family, and you guys are struggling in the house. "Oh, there's no food, don't worry. We'll not have meat to eat, no problem." Whereas the guy is having the money and he's pilfering it elsewhere. You want to say, "Oh, I'm praying." That has to do with character, a behavior, a personality that needs something stronger to be dealt with.
So let me ask Okiki this, because there are some people that believe that having that 100% joint account increases accountability. So let me explain. Because salaries come into the account, everything is taken from one single account. So whatever the money is spent for, you have to explain to your spouse. So some people are of the view that it helps the home because there's accountability. There's no other place. All the money comes in, all the expenditure is recorded.
For me, accountability is not limited to where you put money together. It's when your spouse knows how much you earn. Even if you need to, it's my money, I work for the money, and you need to do some things, maybe send money to people or buy things. You can even share ideas. "Oh, I want to spend this on this particular, I want to buy jewelry." "Oh, do you need to buy jewelry?" Not because you want to take the money from me, but I think it's not the right time. Why not keep that money? It's an advice you might. So it doesn't, not until you come, like I said earlier, it still boils down to transparency and knowing who you married. Some spouses, you wouldn't even want them to know how much you have because they would find ways to get it from you. But if you know your spouse doesn't even care, fine, not in terms of is not your spouse, maybe your wife or your husband is not after maybe cheating you of your money or taking from you, except it's something you need to do together, then you'll be so open. "I have this amount, it might be in your account, you might decide to even use it for a project, it might even be you might be the one to take care of the project, maybe the husband is there. When I have that fund, then I'll return my share." It all boils down to accountability and trust. Know who you marry, who your spouse is.
Accountability, trust, transparency, and
sincerity. So if your spouse is someone that is so open, you can actually tell what they have in their account. So I say you can tell everything about their finances. So it would be so unfair on that spouse part where you keep your own finances to yourself.
I feel couples should just be accountable to one another, even if it's your money or it's in your account or it's a joint, whatever. You should be able to ask, "How are you spending your money?" But not with a sense of control, but a sense of check and balances.
Yeah.
We are supposed to support ourselves. We're supposed to even train one another, because
Yeah.
what if your wife is the type that she likes to spend so much
Right.
money anyhow? If the husband is able to observe every time you see an Amazon package landing in the house, and it's not for household things, maybe it's bags, and before you know it, you have almost 30 bags in your wardrobe. You
Right.
have shoes, almost all the colors of shoes, you have them in double, the duplicates probably. And it's just like within the space of 4 years, 3 years, the man is not really looking at, oh, how much do you have in your account? He has given you that money to spend,
Right.
or you have that your money to spend for yourself too. Not because he gave you, but you have it. But he will like, oh, let me advise my wife. That's where I said accountable to one another. And I think overall, spouses should just feel free to talk about these things. Where I see problem happening in most marriages is that people don't talk
Communicate.
about it. They
Yes.
don't talk
Communicate.
about specific. When they're in courtship, they're in relationship, they are dating and going out together, they're just having fun without really dealing with specific topics, without really talking about, oh, what do you think about this? Asking salient questions from one another. And maybe sometimes they do, and somebody is just answering theoretically,
Yeah.
giving you political answers just so that they can win you over. And then eventually they now start saying, but this is not what you told. I bet forget about that time. Forget about what I told you. This is my reality now. So, well,
So, viewer, what's your view? Do you think joint account is a good idea or a bad idea? We'd like to hear your comments on the comment section.
Yeah.
And that will be a wrap for us today. But before we go, we'll just have final words from the ladies. And please remember to subscribe and share it to your friends. They will learn a thing or two. So I'll start with those last final words for our viewers.
know your spouse.
Be transparent as much as possible if your spouse deserves it.
For me, I would say go with your gut. Well, I know we said prayer is not important, but prayer is important. But when you see that there is trouble, there is fire on the mountain, please run.
And seek counsel.
That's all we have for today. Bye for now.
Thanks,
Bye.
bye.